what helped you overcome fears or any limiting beliefs and actually just like doing that? Like, it's just, one of these amazing things where it seems like you just were so courageous, but, did you struggle with any, just doubts or limiting beliefs in that period?
I still struggle. I still terrify myself. Um, I think I didn't feel like I had anything to lose.
Mm,
I thought the worst thing that happens is he'll say no. And I kind of expected that. But if I don't ask, the answer is definitely no.
mm,
And I don't know that anyone's ever asked him before. And I think a lot of times we just don't give people the opportunity to say yes. And that if we think from the other person's perspective about what matters to them and
mm-hmm.
ask an appropriate question, even a no often results in something that's better for both parties. So yes, I'm scared all the time, but I think pushing myself and other people to live their full potential is so fulfilling for me
Mm-hmm.
personally, and I think makes the world a better place, that I think it's worth taking a chance and trying.
How do you gain access to influential leaders and how do you leverage those relationships?
Well, the first thing I'd say is it takes one person to make a difference. It's
Mm,
not, I mean, I didn't start with some great network. I think it took one person believing in me to make a difference. And so I
mm-hmm.
hope for folks out there who are listening, you can be that person. You can
Mm,
be that person and communicate that I believe in you to one person. That truly makes the entire difference. And
mm-hmm.
I found one person who believed in me. And I asked that one person, uh, would you take a chance on me? And then that turned into 2 people and 3 people and more. And
Mm,
here's what that looked like. I actually went through some really difficult times professionally where,
mm-hmm.
as an emerging young woman who got promotion opportunities, there's a target on my back. And I went through
Right.
some really difficult situations. And people watched how I behaved navigating through those situations with grace and grit and resilience. And I felt like screaming or yelling, but um, what I did was write thoughtful letters and document and be gracious.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, the people who witnessed me go through difficult times, which has happened repeatedly, actually stuck with me or got on board. And so what felt and still feels like a terrible time turned into an amazing opportunity for a leadership moment and support. And so people who watched me go through tough situations the first time actually became some of my greatest supporters. Example of that, we had people who today are mentors who at the time were on the board of the company where there was challenges going on that
Mm-hmm.
were involving me directly, and they watched me navigate and then hosted an event for the Global Good Fund at their home, invited their peer network to hear my story, and started supporting me. And what I didn't realize at the time was that they were testing me in a thoughtful, constructive way. But it started out with maybe a little bit of time or a little bit of money or a little bit of introductions. And when I followed through and delivered, it turned into more and more. And I found that leveraging their credibility was actually fulfilling for them because we shared values. And I believed so much in the mission of what I was doing that, yes, I was explicit about asking for things. I was aggressive about asking for things. And I really believed in what I was asking for because I was trying to make the world a better place. I was trying to help other people live their
Mm-hmm.
potential. Who doesn't want to get on board with that? Who doesn't want to be part of that? And I get rejected all the time, but it only takes a few people to say yes to move the needle.
Share some tips on effective execution. Like, how did you, you know, what does it take? How did you make sure that you were executing and delivering, over like, basically under promising and over delivering? What is your tactic on that?
I think most people, when they think of delivering, think about some big operational execution.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm actually talking about is so simple that most people don't do. It's things like following up on introductions.
Mm,
Because one of the greatest gifts people can make is an introduction, sharing their network. And you want the right people to connect with.
mm-hmm.
And when someone makes an introduction, for example, I follow up immediately and say thank you. I follow up with the person they introduced me to. We schedule a time for a conversation. We talk. I thank that person. And I also thank the person who made the introduction and let them know how the conversation went. And for the future, when I do have a touch base with the person they introduced me to, I let the other person know and say thank you. And as your network grows, it becomes time consuming,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes people want to continue to introduce folks to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happened in terms of growing my own network. And I think so often we think of execution and follow through as this big operational, an event or
Right.
a report. And the reality is those are important. But the reason people keep helping build your network is because you're gracious and appreciative and follow through on introductions made. Say thank you and let them know how the conversation went so they want to do more of that.
Why don't you give us some insights on your daily habits or rituals, things that you do to help you keep and stay on your A game?
Thank you. I'm very much still a work in progress and feel like I'm just getting started. And I'm working on creating these habits and sticking with them. So one of them is before my feet hit the floor when I wake up in the morning, I have a practice of expressing gratitude and reflecting. So I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for a career that really matters to me and makes me feel like I'm making a contribution to the world. I'm thankful for having a roof over my head and the
Mm-hmm.
people in my life. So I try to express gratitude.
One of the important key things is you had to be able to tell that story. You had to really have that clarity on your purpose and your mission. Can you share with our audience, what was the key for you, or what were some of the things that helped you build or gain that clarity to tell that story so passionately? As a mentee, you're asking this person to be a mentor, you're asking them for time, and time is extremely valuable. And you said,
Mhm.
come prepared. What does that mean for a mentee in terms of being an ideal mentee and really getting the most out of that mentoring relationship?
Send your questions in advance, typed
Mm,
up, send them the questions in advance. Show up, you know, for every single meeting. There's no reason why you would ever be the one delaying a meeting or not showing up.
mm-hmm,
Always go to them. So I think there's an expectation that we'd meet in a mutually convenient location, and that's wrong.
mm-hmm,
Always go to wherever the mentor is, make it easy for them to
mm-hmm,
make a difference. And then follow up expressing gratitude for what a meaningful
mm,
conversation that was. And to make it concrete, you could share a couple of key takeaways from the meeting and then
mm-hmm.
plan the next meeting so that you make sure you have it lined up. I think the best way for any person, especially women, to accelerate their success is by investing in yourself,
Mm,
investing in themselves. And I think there's this um, unrealistic expectation that it's going to be other people who invest in me. And the
mm,
reality is, if you're not investing in yourself, why should anyone else invest in you? I learned this by finding a women's governance training program that I
mm,
really wanted to participate in because I thought there should be more women on boards. And it was expensive. Oof, this training program was expensive, but I really thought it was a great opportunity from an education standpoint for me. And I knew I couldn't foot the whole bill, but I could contribute, put some skin in the game.
mm-hmm,
And so I went to the chairman of our board and said, I'm going to put in some money. Will you put in some money and invest in me in this way? And that was an example of how he saw that I put skin in the game. I
mm,
invested in myself, not only with time, which a lot of people can do, but money. And it hurt. But I took it really seriously as a result. And when I went to classes, I shared with him how they went. When I eventually got put on a board, I thanked him.
mm,
And as the opportunities have grown from there, and as I've learned how to help place other women on boards, it's a gift he gave me that keeps on giving. And he may not have, well, he's extremely generous. He was more apt to invest in me
mm-hmm,
because I first demonstrated that I was willing to invest in myself. And the same thing goes, when I've tried to raise money for ventures, if I need to put my own money in the game, it's not only time, it's money. And it doesn't matter how much. I lead a nonprofit organization, so I would know that it's not about how much money you
mm-hmm,
personally put in the game, it's that you did. You put some skin in the game in addition to your time. You found opportunities that are development opportunities for yourself and you put your time and money in, and other people are more apt to invest in yourself, in you, if you first invest in yourself.